It's time for the Motown Rundown, presented by Impact 89 FM WDBM. This is your home for all things Detroit sports, from the Lions and Tigers to the Pistons and Red Wings. Now here's your host, Ryan Rabinowitz.
All right, episode 28 of the Motown Rundown. As always, I'm your host, Ryan Rabinowitz, joined alongside my friends, Trent Balley, Ryan Collins. Gentlemen, how are we?
Excellent.
Fantastic.
Good, I'm glad to hear that.
Seize the day.
Where did that come from?
This is just such positivity.
Yeah.
It's going to be a great day. I can already feel it.
Seize it. Seize the day.
The positivity, potentially because it is March Madness.
Yes.
This was the first weekend of the tournament.
And the Spartans are rolling, baby.
Spartans are rolling. We love it. Collins, how you doing bracket-wise? Other things? Are you alive still? How you feeling?
It was a good start to the week on the bracket. On the bracket, good start to the week. Bovada, not a good week, but I mean, hey, water always finds its level. Water always finds its level.
That's true.
Who
But
said that recently?
I don't know. It's probably something Barstool said.
I don't know.
It was Barstool.
Yeah. But looking back at the week, I'm still in my Final Four. All four teams still there, and I got 7 out of 8 of my Elite 8. So I do have a chance in my bracket if I get hot. I have UCF beating Duke today. Probably not going to happen.
Taco.
Believe in my boy Taco. And I also believe that RJ Barrett has money on every other team that plays against Duke.
Yeah, what's his deal?
He flat out is most, like him and Carson Edwards, even though Carson Edwards played the best game I've ever seen Carson Edwards play last night. Him and Carson Edwards are the most inefficient players I've ever seen.
And inconsistent.
Ever seen.
Yeah.
Like RJ
That's
Barrett.
fair.
RJ Barrett just decides to shoot threes whenever, even if he goes to the hole, every time it's 2 points. Every single time. Just if he puts it on the deck, no one can guard him. But he's like, I'm going to settle for this three and miss off the back iron.
He gives it the old Kyrie when he's upset.
Oh, yeah.
Thing.
Kyrie's what, though?
This weekend, I feel like Collins. I mean, this is one of the greatest weekends, or I guess events in sports. Is like the first 2 days of March Madness.
I think it's the best.
Oh, it is.
I think it's the
flat
best
out
because
the
it's
best.
nonstop and it's just great. Every 20 minutes there's a new game.
I was very like with that take. I was like, is it really? But
I
then
love college basketball,
Thursday, I was locked in. I watched all 16 games Thursday. And this was my tip I gave on the Green and White Report to all the college students that listen, if there's any that listen at all to the show. If your professor gives you excused absences, meaning, in the syllabus you see, if you miss 2-3 classes, it won't count against you attendance-wise. You have to save all those for this weekend. Because Thursday, admittedly, I went to my 1240 class with Dr. Sprang. I sat through the entire class.
Shout out Dr. Sprang.
You know those classes, or I guess lectures, where you'll sit through the entire lecture and like you hear words being said, but you're not processing anything.
One in one ear, out one
exactly.
the other.
Yeah. It was like one of those, and I had like 3 games. I had like the new fast break thing they do on the app.
That's sick. That's cool.
Very cool. I had that going, and then my 240 class, I decided to take a personal day and opt out of that. I had excused absences lined up, so that's what I did. You can't hate me for that one.
I don't hate you for that one.
You can't. You just can't hate.
I watched all 16 games.
How's your bracket?
I'm a mess, Trent. I told Collins earlier.
He hates when people talk about their bracket.
Well, no. I'm saying I hate when people put out their brackets. I do want to ask you guys your biggest pet peeves in a second here of March Madness. I have a ton of March Madness pet peeves. To answer your question, Trent, I'm a mess. I'm in shambles. My bracket-wise, look, I don't care, honestly, and, I'll be a Michigan State homer for a second. I just want to see Michigan State go all the way.
Absolutely, yeah.
I don't care about my bracket, and I have them in the national championship game. Not that anyone cares, but I do. So, it coincides really well. The only Belmont I have in the Sweet 16, obviously they're out, and I have, who else did I have? Florida,
yeah.
When they're out. So everything else is fine. I'm like my bracket. I'm like in the 15th percentile for my bracket. It's embarrassing, but I have a lot of points left on the table.
Worse
that's
than you
huge.
are.
That's huge. That's all that matters.
Yeah, the percentile. They try to, they play with your mind there. The percentile.
If you say people are always like, yeah, my bracket's bad, but I have Houston and Michigan playing in like the national. Like if that happens, you win the bracket. That's just how the point structure works.
Yeah.
Even if you don't, your champion's not right, but your runner up is that like you're gonna do well.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Oops, I'm getting a phone. I apologize.
That's okay.
Oh, who's
Trent,
calling you?
Yeah, Trent's agent.
My brother. Shout out to my brother. I don't know what he thinks I'm doing right now, but whatever.
He's probably like, "What up, Trent? What we doing?"
Yeah.
Trent, I feel like your brothers are all high energy. Never met them.
Oh, my little brother is extremely high energy.
Okay.
Miles.
Yeah, Miles.
Shout
that's
out
the
Miles.
one. That's the
Yeah.
one.
We met. Did you meet Miles? I met Miles.
When?
Greenwood Airport
you
one
were
day.
driving through. You were visiting family in Pennsylvania. That's what you were
not
doing.
Pennsylvania. I was.
You're for something. You were.
I was in. No.
The null, yeah. In the null. Back to I kind of want to vent about it. You know what? We're gonna spend some time on March Madness. It's March.
Yeah.
Whatever. We're only talking Pistons and Tigers today, folks.
Fast
forward if you have to.
A lot of people want to talk about Daz Cameron spring training.
Yeah, fast forward if you have to.
We're gonna break it down for you though.
We will break it down for you because opening day is on Thursday.
You know how we do here.
Yes. I'm a mess, Trent. My bracket, like I said, is whatever. I don't want to get into too much of the game. I don't mean to make it out like I'm a degenerate gambler. I am 21, so I can do it.
You guys are both just gambling geniuses.
I can't win. I don't win anything, dude. Like this, I
was so hot last week. Hot.
But that's you were saying that, and I just felt bad. I've had my share of wins. I've had my good days and my bad days. I don't know what's going on. I can't pick an over. I can't pick an under. I can't pick the point spread. I had Minnesota in the state game. I had Minnesota plus 6.5 first half, assuming that knowing how Michigan State plays,
keep it close.
Minnesota would either be winning by 6 going into half or losing by 4, and it was just a mess. Like, I hate Minnesota. Minnesota is dead to me. The entire state
He's
dead
a
to
gopher hater. That's what he is.
I'll tell you 2 teams that are dead to me if we're talking about gambling. Cincinnati.
Yes.
Cincinnati, it's a home game in Columbus. You're up 13 in the first half, and you let Luka Garza, a guy who looks like he runs a 7.5 40, give you buckets. Are you kidding me?
And he did. He gave him buckets.
Like Jared Cumberland. You stink.
Cincinnati's problem is they're just so athletic. That's it.
Mick Cronin has only been out of the Sweet 16 once in his career. I think Cincinnati has been like a 1 seed.
On that note,
like,
you know who else is the most
They were a 3 seed a couple years ago.
Yeah.
You know who's
they
the
were
most
2 seed last year.
Overrated coach in basketball is Bill Self. Like,
okay, no.
I agree with that.
Like,
actually, I'll agree.
I love Auburn. I love Auburn because I had my bracket to go to Sweet 16. That was the Auburn over Kansas was the easiest pick of the entire tournament.
No, Kansas, like the last 15 years, is the most overrated program ever.
Yeah.
Because the Big 12 has sucked over the past 15 years.
And Bill Self.
Yeah. But Bill Self's not overrated,
dude. How about being a coach and getting your team to the Sweet 16? If you're Kansas,
right?
I know they had a lot of injuries this year. There was a lot of stuff. But like, think about Bill Self. He is like you look at those great Illinois teams in the mid 2000s. That was all him. That was like Bruce Weber just fed off Bill Self's success. It was one of those situations, and like. He built something really good at Kansas. I know Roy Williams had it somewhere in a good place anyway, but still, like, he's not overrated.
Whatever. I mean, either way,
they suck in the tournament though.
Yeah,
like every year, they lose in the first weekend. I think almost half the time. I'm just so
defeated and broken with March. Like, I'm just numb. I'm numb.
You're numb.
I'm not broke. Mom, if you're listening,
you're betting $5.
Yeah, it's all little deals.
Like 15 cents.
Yeah, penny stocks.
Yeah.
But it's just like, I'd like to just win something. I'm so sick of being a loser.
That is the thing about sports gambling. None of this will change like the income or like my net worth at all. Like, I'm betting like $2 on games.
Yeah,
I'm gonna break even. Like, it's never gonna be like where I lose money. Because that's just how like the
It'd just
nature.
Be nice.
It's like my competitive side of me. It's like I want to give out a winner to all my buddies. I want
to be right. It'd be nice as a college student. Like, oh my gosh, hey, I made some money. I can pull out and buy ramen noodles
exactly.
today.
Yeah.
I can eat today.
As someone who has never bet on sports other than like, brackets. You guys are pretty good. I gotta say, I'm impressed. You're always talking about how you do for the week and whatnot. It's better than I do. I gotta tell you that because I pick the Lions every game. And
yeah, that's true. Trent would not be a great gambler, NFL gambler with the Lions.
I'd be face down in a ditch.
I want to get into, before we actually get moving into what this show is truly about, which being Detroit sports. Your biggest March Madness pet peeves. I think it's fun to talk about. I'll kick mine off because Collins mentioned it. And I don't mean to like be mean to anyone. Like, if you do it, it's fine. But the guys that tweet out their brackets, it's like, I don't like.
No one cares.
No one's gonna look at that.
And that's the thing too that I've started the last 2 years. I've never looked at but before I would go on and see the ESPN Insider. You get the week free trial. You see who Jay Billis is picking. You see every game. I don't do that anymore because it gets I get in my head.
Yeah. It's all about gut in March.
Yeah. So I
had it.
I picked UC Irvine. That was genius on my part.
Okay.
No big deal.
Okay. Oh, okay. Do you want to get back to that game?
Sure.
Bruce Weber. Why are you sitting Barry Brown for 15 minutes in the first half just because he has 2 fouls? They were up 10. They take him out. See you later, lead. And then the Anteaters and the guy who had maybe the coolest name of all time. What's that guy's name? That point guard, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. I'm going to look it up.
It's so cool.
Keep talking.
Also, an anteater. What is an anteater?
It's an animal.
Obviously.
You know what
it's got the long nose. Maybe an aardvark.
Yeah, no,
wait,
an aardvark isn't. I mean, they're in the same family. So it's like rat and mouse.
And so an aardvark is an anteater.
No,
it's not. It's not like a form of an aardvark.
I don't believe so.
What do you mean? You just said they're one and the same.
They're 2 different animals, but they're like in the same.
Aardvark.
It's like chimpanzee and orangutan.
Ooh, God, these are gross. Dude.
Yeah,
oh my gosh.
They are.
Look up.
People they look like a banana. Dude,
no, they are.
Anteaters look like bananas.
It was like one of those Siamese hairless cats.
Like you don't,
those
like
are
you
the
don't
worst.
Want, I do
Ew,
not. Yeah, I don't want these anywhere close to me.
Dude, go look. Google a picture of an anteater right now.
I've seen it. Oh no.
What is that?
It's a banana.
I can't. Why is
what is that guy's
so
name?
long?
What's that guy's name, Trent?
Arthur.
No.
Well, oh, shoot. My bad.
Arthur the
Hold up.
Arthur and DW.
I got sidetracked.
He's that. Dude, do you like those LeBron tweets when he tweets about Arthur?
I love LeBron.
The fist.
Anything LeBron, I love.
Close fist.
The best was when Draymond had that shirt at the parade.
Yeah.
With the fist.
Yeah. Anyway, back to is Trent is our researcher here. Tweeting out your bracket, don't care, and you're usually wrong.
Yes.
It's just that's such a hardo move. Everyone's got a bracket, bro.
I think
relax.
my biggest pet peeve in the entire world is these kids. God, I love these kids Twitter where they're like, look at this emotion. This is why March is great. Like they act like they know these kids.
Yeah.
Like. Don't tweet out a clip of a random kid from UC Irvine. You've watched one game. You're like, wow, good for these guys. It's hard to see them lose their season today. Like, you don't know these kids. You haven't watched them. Stop acting like you know what you're talking about. And I think my biggest pet peeve is people act like they watch college basketball.
Yeah, that's annoying.
Nobody watches college basketball. And that's coming from a guy who watches a lot of college basketball.
Yeah, you do.
Nobody, people who are in brackets are like, yeah. I'm like, have you watched them this year? Like, Wisconsin and Oregon was maybe one of the worst seeded games of all times. Oregon is, better than them.
Yeah.
And they were the 12th seed. If I was a Wisconsin man, I would riot. I would actually riot.
It's rough.
What's your biggest pet peeve, Trent?
My biggest pet peeve is the I don't know if this counts, but the way they do the seeding thing.
Oh, yeah.
Because Michigan State should not be in Duke's region for
Or how about having to play? They could have been playing 2 Big Ten teams in a row.
Yeah,
it would have been. I would
for
have been
the
disgusted.
love of Christ. I mean, forget.
Yeah.
Pardon my. Hold up. Let me just talk about this.
Pardon my friend.
So, theoretically, just like in every other sport, right? Every other sport, you seed the same way. It's the best team versus the worst team, and so on and so forth. It's a 1 and 1 and 1 and 1 and 1 all the way down to the middle, right? That's why 8-9s are a crapshoot.
Yes,
because they're pretty much the same.
Yeah.
So, Duke is the number 1 overall seed. Michigan State is what, 5 or 6? They missed the 1 seed by.
I don't know.
Either way, they're not 8th. You don't put Michigan State with Duke, and I don't care. It has nothing to do with geography. I don't care.
Yeah.
Ask Tom Izzo if he'd rather be a little bit closer to East Lansing or play Duke.
Yeah, that was the rationale. We're gonna keep him close to home in DC.
Yeah, and keep him close to home in DC.
No one's going either way.
Yeah.
If you want to go, you can go into Mexico and watch the game.
Exactly.
Yeah, keep them closer in the East. And if they played Maryland, they're basically playing a road game.
Yes.
So that makes sense.
So ask Tom Izzo if he'd rather play a little farther from East Lansing or play Zion Williamson. Which, by the way, I'm not afraid of him. I think we're gonna beat him. But
they're not going to get to us.
We're going to play Taco?
No, yeah, dude, Taco.
No, Virginia Tech.
Taco.
I don't know.
Virginia, the Hokies?
That's what I have. Collins is a fool for having UCF over Duke.
Just wait till the night.
Listen, I think he's a fool for picking it, but I will be rooting for UCF and Taco. And I'm going the first at-large bid.
National champions.
First at-large bid. Let me say a quick thing about Virginia Tech before we move on. Buzz Williams was on part of my take. My brother's a huge fan.
Yeah,
and
great show.
He listened, and he wrote Buzz because my brother's a basketball manager. He's like trying to do this someday. So he wrote Buzz Williams a letter, and Buzz wrote him back.
Really?
Oh,
So
what
great
guy.
Great guy.
What did he write? Wait, what did he write him?
He just said
I liked what you said and what your message was.
He's
Oh, that's cool.
Thanks for sharing your story and everything. And then Buzz wrote him back and said, hey, Brock, thanks for writing, thanks for listening, appreciate the support. Keep doing your thing.
Wow.
So
for him.
I'm the
Buzz
biggest
Williams.
Virginia Tech fan
I'm
now.
a Buzz
Go
guy
Hokies,
now.
baby.
Yeah, like
All right. Well, let's stay on the basketball topic. We'll move out of March now. So for you folks that have suffered through 15 minutes of us just shooting the breeze. Detroit
Shooting the
Pistons
what?
basketball. The breeze. Shooting the breeze.
I thought you were
never
going to say
heard that?
something else.
It's like when Colin says
I'm-
eat crow and
Yeah.
Rabinowitz says, what?
Eat crow. That's just makes no one's ever said that.
That
ever.
is just
Anyway,
Skip Bayless says it.
Pistons basketball. Sunday win over the Raptors when we were recording our show. Then a 126-119 loss to the Cavs on the road. I lost my mind during
Yeah,
that
me
game.
too. I did as well.
Without
Yeah.
Blake in that game. The win over the Suns on Thursday. Uncle Steven was at that game. Shout out Uncle Steven.
Shout out.
And the loss of the Blazers yesterday for us, Saturday for whenever you're listening, 117-112. Where are we at, guys? Where are we at with the Pistons here?
I mean, I think me and Trent were talking about this earlier. It's just flat out like it's at the point where they're gonna get the 7th seed.
Yeah, that's
and
the
they're-
most likely outcome.
and they're just waiting for the playoffs. And I think it's like this as the NBA as a whole. It's just kind of boring.
Yeah.
Like I think the good teams are kind of fed up and they're like, can we get to the playoffs already?
Right.
So I you looked at this team, really bad loss though last night in Portland. No
Yeah.
sugarcoating it. They should have won that game. You're up 6 with like a
And
minute.
that's one that you would have liked to win
Yeah.
because now you got to play Golden State and Denver and I
I would
don't
say
know if
lost
it's
like
that,
30 to Dallas last night.
which means they're going to beat us by 50.
Yeah, I know. You're right. Good point.
I just at this point in the season, and I was watching the game last night. It just kind of popped in my head. Like, I don't. At this point in the season, I don't think it's worth it for me to like lose my mind over these losses. That I'm not gonna. Portland's not a bad team.
No.
Obviously, they're a playoff team. I believe
They are,
Yes. But like a loss to the Cavs without Blake.
Yeah.
It was just so typical Pistons.
Well,
That was
I just-
so dumb.
I have a little bone to pick with that because I think, well, obviously Dwayne Casey's resting Blake because we're about to go on this West Coast road trip, right? Let me play devil's advocate. Why don't you play Blake, make sure you get the win, and rest him against Golden State?
But yeah.
Fair.
You
I
have
don't
to
hate
play
that, yeah.
a perfect game to beat Golden State at home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doesn't
You know what I
yeah.
mean? And can the Pistons do it? Yeah, because they beat them once already this year. But I'm just saying, it's one of those things where
Yeah.
you have to play. It's in Oracle. The first win was in Detroit.
I honestly don't know why they did that because they had 3 days off before they played Phoenix.
Well, that too. The timing didn't really make sense. I understand you want to give Blake a game off, but in my opinion, there was just a better opportunity, even in Portland last night.
Do they understand the stretch of schedule they have coming?
Yeah, I don't know.
They had to. You have that, and you play Phoenix. Maybe rest them against Phoenix.
Yeah,
That
would be one you could
just
rest.
that's contradicting my point. I think you just need to get those wins against those bad teams.
Well, that's
Just,
what I'm saying.
like,
You
if you
have
play
to
Blake-
secure those wins.
If you play Blake, you win by like 15, and you're playing. Everyone's playing 20 minutes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, you
like,
get to
I
take
just-
people. There's pros and cons. I'm not going to sit here and say Dwayne Casey doesn't know what he's doing because I understand it. He's trying to give Blake some rest, and I'm sure there's more that goes into it than just what we're 3 college kids. I always say this: we're 3 college kids sitting around a microphone and just talking.
Yeah.
But overall, though, I guess
Looking good doing
if
it.
I was Dwayne Casey and I was the coach of the Detroit Pistons,
Yeah.
I would have sat Blake against the Warriors.
I just the thing with back to the teams they're playing is to your point, like this is just what they are. This is what they are, especially without Blake. Like a loss to the Cavs, I'm not gonna if this was earlier in the year, I'd be like, this is ridiculous. Like you can't beat good teams, you lose the bad teams. What are you doing? But this is I'm just done. Just regurgitating the narrative of what the Pistons are. They very rarely beat good teams, and they have these occasional games where they lose the bad teams they shouldn't, and everything else in the middle they'll just take care of. They'll just do enough to just tread water. And I long for the day when Pistons basketball is back to where they win 6 games in a row, or they're winning 10, whatever, just beating teams. Like, not winning, but beating teams.
Yes.
And that's not who they are. And come playoff time, I don't care. I don't care what the rest of the season, as long as you stay in the playoff spot, which they should and probably will, I don't care what happens because I still don't think that they're going to win a playoff game. Yeah, I know you guys are. Collins is the at least one. Trent, you want the best team in the NBA and think we can beat them somehow. But it is what it is. I'm almost like just numb. Another thing I'm just numb to is like Pistons basketball. Like it's a pleasure when they win, and when they don't, it's whatever. And that's how, as a fan, I don't like living that way because I love being like game 47 against the Jazz, and I'm like on my seat, like get this win at the end. I don't care anymore. Because this team gives me no reason to care.
And honestly, that's what the last 6 years of losing basketball has done to you. You know, that's not your fault.
Yeah.
It's Stan Van Gundy and Mo Cheeks and Joe Dumars at the tail end of his career in the front
Remember
office.
Mo Cheeks?
Yeah, Mo Cheeks.
He was literally there for like half a year.
Yeah, like 50 games or
yeah,
so.
They're like, yeah, this isn't working out.
But if you guys don't mind, I want to run through this with you guys. Because I was talking to my buddies last night about the potential. There's basically 3 potential outcomes, okay?
Yeah.
And Collins and I mentioned the 7th seed is probably the most likely. But let's start with a 6th seed because that would be the Philadelphia 76ers. Now, personally, I want the smoke just because I hate Joel Embiid.
I think Drummond would get on his head maybe 6 times a game.
That's the thing. I would live for that one game, maybe 2 games, where Dre just outplays Embiid and in front of the Detroit crowd, and it's just great. That would make my whole season.
I think that's the worst matchup they can face.
It is. It's a really bad matchup.
Back in Detroit.
Keep running through.
I just want the smoke.
I want to hear them all.
Okay, 7th seed. The Raptors would maybe be the best psychological matchup simply because the Pistons are 3-0 against them this season. And Dwayne Casey's guys really seem to get up for that game because they want to defend his honor.
Yeah.
As the ex-Raptors coach. However, they also have this guy named Kawhi Leonard who's a top 5 player in the NBA.
True.
And which leads me to my next point about the Bucks. I've been rambunctiously vocal about how I want the Bucks in the first round. I just think Giannis is beatable, especially given the lack of depth the Bucks are struggling with now. You've got Malcolm Brogdon out for a little while, Nikola Mirotic out for a little while. They just traded for Pau Gasol. They thought he was going to be healthy. He's not.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I don't know. It's just questionable in the first round. But at this point, I don't think it really matters who we play in terms of what my prediction is, because you're going to have to play 4, like what I said about the Warriors, you're going to have to play 4 near-perfect games to win a playoff series, but the Pistons are capable, so let's just crack this playoff spot and give it a run. Like, who knows what will happen. I'm just excited to watch Blake and Dre in the playoffs together. I'm excited to watch Luke Kennard, Langston, Bruce Brown in their first playoff runs, Thon Maker back in the playoffs, things like that. So, in conclusion, Pistons in 7.
I honestly, though, I think the only storyline and one thing we could talk about before we get into a little Tigers preview is that I think they should be disappointed that they kind of just like let the 6th seed go. Just they were kind of in that driver's seat for a little bit.
Yeah.
And they play the Nets. They kind of get waxed.
Yeah.
They don't bounce back the Nets night. They get waxed again. I think that's a little bit discouraging if you're a Pistons fan because I think they are better than the Nets. At least, I mean, the Nets are young and really fun and really fun to watch. Like watching D'Angelo Russell, Terrence LeVert, and Spencer Dinwiddie. It's like it's so infuriating watching Spencer Dinwiddie as a Pistons man. Him and Chris Middleton Chris Middleton we just gave away.
Yeah, I know.
The guy's an All-NBA. He's about to get a max contract this
summer. You gave him away for nothing.
Yeah.
But
so
also though, to your point, the psychological difference between the 6 and the 7 and 8, I think to me is pretty big.
Yes.
Because you look at the top 2 teams in any conference any year, it's always like the top 2 teams are definitely a tier above 3.
Definitely.
You know? Yeah. So, I mean, the 6th seed is, you could win, but 7, 8, no one's picking you. No one in the world is going to pick you to win the series.
Yeah.
Zero.
As far as those matchups go, I don't think the Bucks are going to I don't think the Bucks are getting out of the East.
I don't either anymore.
Between the Raptors,
I mean, they need
Sixers,
Brogdon back.
Well, between the Raptors, Sixers, and Celtics, you just have more experience, and I just think more polished teams, in my opinion.
I'm off the Celtics.
Well, yeah, that's fair
too.
enough. But
there's been too much going on there this year. I think all the Kyrie stuff's a little overblown. There's stuff going on. There's something going on where it's just like this team's not focused.
It's egos.
Yeah,
but I agree with your point in terms of just the Celtics have a better shot than the Bucks at this point, just because the Bucks are riddled with injuries and they play hero ball.
Yeah, and I think that's very true. The ideal matchup in the East, given your seeding as the Pistons, is with the Pacers. You're not going to get it.
Right.
The Sixers, I think, is a worst case scenario. I'd probably almost rather play playing against
I'd rather
Giannis
play the Bucks than the
just...
Sixers. I just want to see Embiid versus Drummond because they hate each other.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. I get what you're saying.
It would just be fun.
For
It'd be fun.
Matchup standpoint, no.
I think the best matchup, like you said, is honestly the Raptors. I really do. I feel for whatever reason the Pistons have had. I mean, Kawhi. I know he didn't play in the one.
He didn't play in
game.
one of them, but
the Pistons have had the Raptors number. I like the matchup because of Casey. I still think that the Raptors. I'd like to think the Raptors, given their talent, I don't know. That's why I just scratch my head with the Pistons, because it's like you see these games against the Cavaliers, against the Blazers, where it's just like, I don't know if it's the effort or they're just disorganized. I still just think, I know Reggie Jackson's kind of come around and he hasn't been as horrible as he was earlier in the year. I think he is the biggest problem with this team. I think he is the cog in this, because when Ish Smith is on the floor, without Reggie, it's just a much more efficient
it's a
offense.
different offense, and yeah, I mean,
it just I don't know. I feel like for whatever reason that Reggie doesn't give the offense enough of a kick in the pants that he should as the point guard, to where they like guys move and get open and like they're just grinding on the like. I don't know what it is, because I'd like to see this team. The reason why I say I don't think they won a playoff game is I don't trust that this team goes into Toronto and like gets up for a game to like win. I don't think they believe they can win. I really don't.
My whole standpoint with the Pistons, like winning one game or whatever, is just I just think Blake will drop 50 in a game.
Well, yeah,
it's gonna be that type of scenario. Blake is one of those, and he hasn't been able to display his like talents in the playoffs. He's been hurt,
right?
So I think that's
as
a big
the number
motivator.
one option too. So I mean, it's going to be interesting. I definitely agree. The Pistons aren't getting swept. I'd honestly, I'm crazy. I'd bet on that. I don't bet on sports. I'd bet on that.
I wish I could bet on that, but that's just not how it works.
Well, yeah, I understand that, but the Pistons aren't getting swept. I think the Pistons could take it 6 with the Raptors and 6 with the Bucks.
I can see that.
Not the
I
Sixers.
see that more than them getting swept. I will agree with you.
Yeah.
Okay.
They just have too much talent on that. I mean, Drummond. I'll say this. Drummond. Like I said, I can eat crow about Drummond because he has been fantastic. He was fantastic last night, and I think they play Drummond every minute now. They need to give him. They need to like settle that down a little bit as they get into the playoffs.
I think they will in this road trip, because I mean I'm never negative about my teams, but like you might be down 30 to the Warriors in the third quarter, and then you don't play Drummond the rest of the way.
Yeah. Definitely.
So we'll see.
10 games left to go for the Pistons this season. As we mentioned here, the Pistons taking on the Warriors tonight for us, Sunday night, 8:30 p.m. is the tip. Again, they always play when we record. They're not playing on Monday, actually.
No way.
Our usual Mondays are not playing.
No way.
I am very excited to talk about the Tigers. Extremely excited. Yeah. Opening day is Thursday, the 28th. That makes it, I think. I don't know.
That's correct.
It's Thursday. They will start the season in Toronto. I believe they have a 4-game set against Toronto, and then they see the Yankees before coming home to Detroit. That opening day is what, the 4th, 3rd?
4th of April.
4th of April.
April in the D, bro.
I'm
so pumped for that.
You
do?
Oh wow! You don't like good luck? Good luck, Chucks.
April in the I can't.
Dude, the all-time one is April in the D. Spring has sprung, winter's done, and Detroit will be the one.
Okay, enough, Collins, please. Oh God. I think the three teams you have playing in April are so abysmal.
I know, it's so funny. It's so funny.
Either way, we'll get into the predictions for the season with the Tigers, but I'm very excited. I love Tigers baseball. I love the sport of baseball. I love summer nights in Detroit at Comerica. It's all good stuff. The first topic that we should get into here is obviously it's kind of old hat at this point maybe, but Michael Fulmer out for the season with Tommy John surgery. That will be, was it a UCL injury, whatever that little ligament is. He will be having Tommy John surgery. Will be out for the entire season. I'll kick it off here. This sucked to have come across my phone, because Michael Fulmer has been in such limbo with not only himself professionally in his career, but with his future with the Tigers. And all I wanted this season was to see Michael Fulmer go out there and go like 14-4, 2.50 ERA and just look good and be
it's
comfortable.
also it's a big factor in where you put this team. You know,
it is, because this is one of your guys that when you look at the 68.5 over/under total that we'll get into, he's the guy that can put you over, because every fifth day you have if you
got a shot.
The Tigers could, they could drop 4 in a row and they come back at home in front of a crowd of 3,000 people on a Tuesday afternoon, and you beat the Red Sox 5-0 somehow because Fulmer's lights out. That's just what he gives you. And it's, he is still under team control. I think now you obviously no one's going to probably want to take this guy off your hands, given the surgery. And what's frustrating to me is, it's the age-old tale of Fulmer. He's got the herky-jerky motion. He's a mess. He ruins his body and
got the downwards U.
Yeah, whatever that whole thing is, but It's tough. I'm actually kind of bent out of shape about it because I wanted to see this guy pitch this year. He's like the one guy that I was very excited to just watch play every fifth day for pitcher standpoint. And my hope is that he, takes care of the elbow. And I know that the Tommy John thing isn't as big of an issue as it used to be, as in guys can
come back and get their velocity back.
And it's just, I look at
hard to change your mechanics.
Yeah, it's I think it's going to be relearning the process of the pitching motion and finding a way that's comfortable for him. And I think the thing with Michael Fulmer that's made him so dominant is he's just a bulldog. And I don't know if he can do that anymore after the surgery. And I was talking with some buddies about this, about don't worry about it, he'll be fine when he comes back. But I mean, Jordan Zimmerman had the Tommy John, right? I believe.
Yeah, he did.
And he, after when he came back, he was fine. But you see him now. I'm not going to blame it on the Tommy John surgery completely, but now he's a shell of himself. Steven Strasburg before the Tommy John surgery, he was like, this guy's going to come in here, he's going to win every single game all year long. He'll have a sub-1 ERA, and he's like, he's whatever. He's not a bad pitcher. He's not a great pitcher. He's kind of he's a very solid pitcher, but not the guy that you thought he was with all the hype coming into the season, or coming into his career, I should say. My last thing before I turn it to you guys that I'd like you guys to touch on too when you give your thoughts on the Fulmer situation, and it goes into a point that I wanted to bring up later on. I guess I'll just do it now. Allegedly, as the Tigers are breaking down to their 25-man roster, that last roster spot is allegedly up for grabs between Daniel Norris and Buck Farmer. And reading that made me just very angry, because I am so high on Daniel Norris as just another guy who just cannot stay healthy. Now that you have Michael Fulmer out, the last thing I need the Tigers to do is go sign like the ghost of Jeremy Bonderman and just plug up the rotation again. So now I got to see what this guy, Tyson Ross is his name, right? And Matt Moore.
I like
please,
Tyson Ross. Don't sure
but
Tyson Ross.
I'm just saying, can you please put a young guy in the rotation? I need to see Daniel Norris. Give him a chance.
Yeah.
And if halfway through the year he's 0-5 again with a 4.50 ERA, then send him to the bullpen. But if Buck Farmer, how many more times we need to do the Buck Farmer thing?
Oh my God! Don't get me started with Buck Farmer.
It's an experiment.
In the bullpen, he's a starter. Like,
he's a trash can.
And when you have all these young guys that are like they're clawing to get to the majors, like, it's like you've done your time, Buck. Like, it didn't work out, man. Like, I don't know.
And there's no shame in that. It's just like, it's a business too. It's not just a team.
I don't mean to be a Mr. Poopy Pants, but I'm bent out of shape that Fulmer's done for the year. I want to see Daniel Norris pitch, and if he starts the season in AAA, I don't know. I don't know.
He can't come back from that.
I don't know. Whatever. Fulmer situation for you guys.
It sucks. I think he said it himself. It was just a kick in the nuts. He said that. He said there's no sugarcoating. It was like a punch in the stomach and a kick in the nuts, and it really is. I think there was a lot of concern in the Detroit organization for a long time that this was going to happen, just the way his herky-jerky release is. I like, not to name drop, but like Dan Dickerson was my professor, and he always used to say that was the Tigers' biggest concern with him. And they always kind of got the sense that they were going to move on before they had to deal with it. Mm-hmm. And guess what? His trade value's gone.
Yeah.
And it's gone.
Yep.
Now you gotta hope he rehabs and he can become the guy he was probably 2 years ago. Because he wasn't good last year. He wasn't He was hurt. I understand that, but he wasn't good either. So, it sucks, but the tank is on, I guess. The tank is on.
But that's the thing is, like, tanking it. What is tanking in baseball? You know what I mean? You know, the draft, like, what? I don't know how the draft works.
You could go sign Jose Valverde if you want to tank.
That'd be sweet.
Papa Grande.
No, for me, it was just hearing this news about Fulmer sucks. Like, I can't really say much that you guys haven't said. It's just one of those things. It kind of took me by surprise because, as Colin said, it's one of these things that you're concerned about. But then it was kept under. I don't even. It came out of nowhere. They were just like,
okay, hurt.
He's resting today, and then all of a sudden, he's seeking a third opinion because he needs Tommy John.
Yeah, that did come out of nowhere. We were talking about that on Thursday in personal finance.
Such a blindside.
I checked my phone. It said it said Michael Fulmer needs Tommy John.
I thought I had the wrong guy. I read it and texted my family, and I was like, wait, did I mess that up? Like, no, some out of nowhere.
No, it's crazy, and it does suck. And let me say this before I go any further. I think he will rehab and come back. I don't know if he'll be as good as he was 2 years ago, but I think he'll be a very,
was it 2
very,
years ago
very,
or 3 years ago? I think it was 3 years.
3 years ago was his really good year.
Yeah, 3 years
and
ago.
then 2 years ago, he was good still. Last year was a little rough. He was playing hurt, playing banged up, but he had to. But I think he will rehab and come back a very, very, very good pitcher. Let me just say that. And I got to name drop my friend here. My buddy Keaton Hamilton was my best friend growing up. He took me to my first Pistons game, actually.
Nice.
But he plays baseball at Hope College. He had Tommy John surgery, I think, 2 years ago, and he threw a no-hitter this week.
Really?
So
good for him, Keaton.
That's a good omen for me.
Oh, yeah.
I
like that. Good for him.
Fulmer's going to come back and be 19-0 with,
I'll take it.
Yeah, we'll take it.
Staying on the injury train, Jacoby Jones and Drew Verhagen will start the season on the IL now. The injured. I have to call it the DL.
Yeah,
it's
a joke. What a joke.
Yeah.
I don't.
This is one of those little things in sports that triggers Collins.
No, this is infuriating.
I hate it.
Whoever
too.
got rid of the DL is an idiot. The DL was a staple in sports.
It's so unnecessary.
Yeah,
why?
He's going on a 30-day DL.
Yeah,
or that also got me triggered when they switched from 15-day DL to the 10-day DL. I was like,
there are so many things.
You got to give them 2 weeks.
The MLB is just trying to not market their sport. I'm telling you, getting rid of the DL is the worst thing they've done in the last 10 years.
So many things about Major League Baseball, and
marketing.
I am a baseball purist to my core. But I understand as time goes on, you need to be in the face of your fans. You need to be in the face of just the scope of the world. But there's so many I can't stand the pitch clock. I can't stand the now. If you want to intentional walk someone, it's like we're playing t-ball, just run to first base. I could talk about it for hours. I don't want to get into it, but that's another thing that made me mad. Anyway, go ahead, Trent.
I was just gonna say to the people who think that stuff's the people who say that baseball's dying and let them. They're just not. They're not baseball fans.
Yeah,
you can't change that. They're not gonna be. So just let them chirp.
Exactly.
And the people who love baseball will continue to love baseball.
I think if you want to draw attention in fans, it's not so much I don't think the length of the game. How much can you shorten a game by having a pitch
people
clock?
leave early all the time.
Yeah,
it's not a matter of it's too long. It's a matter of I agree.
I've been to games. You're out in 3 hours. Whatever. It's it is what it is.
And if you're not, it's fine.
Yeah,
you enjoy your drive home.
How about marketing your sport? How about making your sport accessible to the fans?
Yeah, how about having your guy Mike Trout basically be the same noticeability as Kenneth Faried?
Yeah, that's
this 8th man on the Houston Rockets.
Yeah,
that's incredible. The Manimal. Yeah. Anyway, back to that.
By the way,
point.
that is also so incorrect. People who think more people know Mike Trout than Kenneth Faried. Whoever came up with that stat was bogus.
I think it was based off of recognizability. Is that a word?
Yeah, but still, that's bogus.
On a street in Brooklyn, just walking. Oh, that's Mike Trout. That's Kenneth Faried. It's like
I don't know. Still.
I know. I agree. It's kind of a slight to my man Mike Trout.
Okay, so
anyhow.
Yeah. Well. Okay. So Jacoby Jones, Drew Verhagen, starting the season. I'm a deal. The deal. It's a deal. Mikey Matuk and Nico Goodrum are expected to see time in center field for the Tigers now. Dustin Peterson's a name that could see time. I don't care that much about Drew Verhagen because I don't think Drew Verhagen's any good at all. I haven't seen anything out of him that's been promising. Jacoby Jones, I believe he's batting 196 in spring. I don't know. I hope I have that stat right. Foolish.
I hope you have it wrong, and I hope it's 250.
Being honest, I was looking at before my computer died. I was looking at the splits. It said he was betting 354.
So what was it? I don't know. I must have been looking at the wrong thing.
I don't know.
idea.
I could be in the wrong year too. I could be.
Can you go check that out? Cause we have to. That's
Stat guy Trent.
Yeah, I need to see what.
By the
he's
way,
betting this
Max
spring.
Hazard. That's the UC Irvine guy.
Max Hazard.
Yeah.
What a fighter name.
Ooh, like Maximum Hazard. Almost.
Yeah, and it said Max Hazard, no regard for human life, dude. Also, another pet peeve. Kevin Harlan was calling the Michigan State game. Kevin Harlan's probably the best big game announcer in the game.
Yep.
But Michigan State is up like 30 basically, and it's just like Amir Coffey throws it down. They're only down 15. I'm like, dude, settle down. I can't take this energy the whole game.
Yeah, I agree. Like every point is just like the end of the world. Anyway, but with the back to the Jacoby Jones thing, another guy that's frustrating because this is someone who I said a couple weeks ago, this is the guy I'm watching this year because it is time to like earn your job in center field. Because last year, I mean, his hitting was atrocious and it strikes out all the time, which I've seen it enough in Austin Jackson. I don't need to see it again.
Don't chirp Ajax ever.
Oh, he's a good guy.
196 is correct.
196. Yeah, so I don't know what you're looking at.
I had like 2017.
Which I'm glad that you brought that we confirmed that, Trent, because now my thing is like this.
This guy stinks.
This guy stinks. No, I
got the whole team up, by the way, now, so if you need anyone else, let me know.
I appreciate it. It's again another frustrating thing to like not start the season with this guy in center field, but like Mikey Matuk and Nico Goodrum are your names to replace him.
Let's go.
Really?
Let's go. Mikey Matuk.
He's a good center. Mikey can actually play in center field. Sneaky.
And then he bats 130.
Well, I was gonna say he's even a worse bat. He's okay. Let's see.
He's batting
he's 240.
Yeah,
240.
he's batting 2 something. Yeah, which is whatever.
I'll take it.
This Dustin Peterson kid's an interesting name. He kind of came out of the woodwork of I think he's hitting 306 this spring.
306. Yep.
So.
Ask Cameron. Do you bring him up? I don't. Did they already send him down?
I don't know what the deal is with him. I don't know if he's been sent down as the roster's getting shortened.
I mean, he batted 346.
346.
Yeah.
26 at bats. It's not like
he's had a great spring.
Yeah.
He has, and he's like the best athlete you have outfield because Christian Stewart is not a great outfielder.
He's garbage.
He's not a good fielder at all. But
he's
gonna have to play in the outfield for the Tigers.
Other than JD Martinez, I think the Tigers have had a revolving door of just having the worst right fielder.
Bobby Higginson.
Don't chirp Bobby Higginson.
My favorite player of all time.
Delman Young.
DY
More
was
left fielder. Left fielder for Delman Young.
No, but I'm trying to think of right fielder. Like Brendan Bosch was awful.
Rondell White.
Yeah, I'm not talking about 02 Tigers, guys. Come on.
I got you. But
still, they've had a bad run of right fielders the last like.
There's a trend.
As I drooled on my face, just a mouth breathing dummy.
Okay, that's how we're doing here, folks.
Yeah, mouth breathing.
That's what's
dummy.
happening.
So yeah, those 2 injuries to start the year are tough. Just to keep rolling here with just some things that are going on. Ronnie Rodriguez will start the season in Toledo. Gordon Beckham makes the roster. 279 average this spring with a homer and 5 ribbies. I actually like that because I remember hearing that Gordon Beckham said if he doesn't make the roster, he'll just retire probably. So yeah. I'm glad. But now as we all tie this in, as I'm just rambling now, the frustrating thing with the Tigers, and I sound like I'm beating a dead horse because I am, is Ronnie Rodriguez is like not a guy that I think is going to be like a cornerstone for this team. But, you sign a Gordon Beckham. You sign a Jordy Mercer. Jordy, right? I'll figure it out eventually. Yeah. A Josh. I like Josh Harrison a lot. But it's just, the more and more I look at it, there's not much to look forward to. There's not. Like, like in the field or at the plate, I mean, it's like very disheartening. The pitching staff looks good for the foreseeable future, but I mean, Jacoby Jones is not going to start the year with the Tigers because he's hurt. He's your center fielder. Like, who's your backup? Mikey Matuk and Nico Goodrum. I don't even know what to say. Like, you know what I'm trying to say here.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Maybe you guys have different.
It's
opinions.
kind of exhausting just to think about this, but. I don't know.
I don't know what Al Avila is like. What his plan is, but like
that is a good point to make. What is his plan? Because I think there's no direction.
Well, because again, you bring in a guy. Again, I'm glad Gordon Beckham gets to play baseball, but for a little bit more. But like, I'm just scratching my head. Like, but why? Why is not?
I mean, Ronnie Rodriguez got some run at the end of the year. I think he played the last 50 games at least.
And he came on strong with his bat initially, and I don't understand. Like, I don't get it. I just don't know. Like, you're like, what does Gordon Beckham give you?
he gives you.
He won't be here next year.
Yeah, but he helps those young guys like develop. It's good to have veterans.
There's no young guys on the roster. They're all in AAA. They're sending them all down. I know what you're saying though.
I don't know. We'll be interesting.
I don't know. So that's a good topic to just. I've just been rambling and I'm saying nothing for the last 10 minutes.
Novi Flames hat.
What's it called this year?
What is the direction?
The thing about I think this year in the direction of it's like everyone's just like just wait till next year. Next year will be fun because I think some of these pitchers will be up by next year.
Yeah, the direction.
And I think this year is hopefully we get at least one or two, get a couple starts like Franklin Perez or Fado or whoever. I mean. Fado's a concern since his philosophy's been down ever since he's been in the Tigers organization. Hopefully Casey Mize maybe.
I would love to see Casey Mize.
Yeah, so I don't know. The direction of this organization is like I think they have at least 2 more years of a rebuild. At least.
I don't see the light at the end of the tunnel. I think when you say they have 2 years left,
there's a difference between the Red Wings and the Tigers. I would agree that the Red Wings have some cornerstone pieces, and they've made some decent little like minute moves, like signing Taro Hirose. Shout out MSU, like three assists in 3 games. Guy's a unit, but like you're right. The Tigers don't really have a cornerstone piece. Locked in place.
And Trent, before we get to you, I just because I want to before I forget. The thing with like the Red Wings, like you see I can see the future, as in like they'll get a good draft pick this year. They probably won't make the playoffs next year. Draft again, what have you, and then the next year 3, 4, 5 is when you see like okay they're going to make a big splash in free agency. You get the goalie thing figured out because Jimmy Howard's back for another year. Glad I mentioned that. But the Tigers, it's like. Okay, well, Fulmer's hurt right now. Boyd is probably your best young pitcher that has like actually pitched in the major league so far. Norris is a wild card. You got guys like John Hicks, Jim Adducci, whatever. Nico Goodrum, Mikey Mata, Gordon Beckham, George. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah,
because Castellanos is probably gone during the year. Like, holy!
No, did you hear that? They were talking about re-signing him.
Who?
Alavila.
Oh, Castellanos?
Yeah, they were talking about extending him.
I did because I don't want him here anymore, dude.
I understand that, but it's like one of those situations where they have like they're gonna like their cap is like not great with the Miggy deal, but like baseball has no like free agent. I mean, salary cap or like whatever. It's just like how much money they want to spend, and like say like. Illich is like, I'm fine with spending money on Nick Castellanos. I mean, why not? Who cares? It's going to be like 3 or 4 years anyway. He's a good player.
What's frustrating is just like as I read those names off. I mean, dude, like between Matuk, Harrison, Mercer, Beckham, who else is did I say Matuk already? Goodrum. It's like these are not like young guys. They're like that are promising. Well, they're not. I mean, what are we doing? You got guys like who's the guy from? Who's the White Sox middle infielder that just got signed? What's his name?
Anderson?
No. Juan Moncado or whatever.
Oh yeah, Moncado for
like that's
Cuba.
A guy who it's like yes, like if you're a White Sox fan, they just locked him up for a pretty substantial amount of time.
Yeah,
it's like yes,
and we got Dixon Machado.
Yeah, he's gone. He's in Miami now. Machado. Yeah,
Machado's not been good since he's been out.
But I'm
White
saying
Sox.
Like young, like a
Gleyber
Torres, an Aaron, like these young guys that like. This dude, like baseball, yes. Pitching
Shout out to
is
Brian Cashman.
Yeah,
sneaky,
unreal, dude.
Sneaky, like
I hate the Yankees.
I hate the Yankees, but like people are like, oh yeah, like all they do is just spend money. I mean, have you seen the guys that are coming out of their farm system?
That's where it gets dangerous. That's where it gets dangerous. And it's like for the Tiger, that's like who's your guy? Dewell Lugo.
Yeah, oof.
Isaac Paredes. Like he's not ready. I don't know.
The thing about it, all the guys that Tigers have in their organization is pitching. It's literally all pitching, and then like Daz Cameron and Jake Rogers.
Well, that's it. That's like what we've. Okay, so if you ask about the direction, Alavila has clearly tried to address the pitching problem, and it's almost to the point where it's overkill.
Yes.
And you can definitely question whether or not he's even getting the right guys. So at this point, Ryan, you said you don't see the light at the end of the tunnel. I kind of do, but it's not too bright.
Yeah.
To further the metaphor there. It's rough because you don't have a young, promising. You don't have one. I don't want to be such a pessimist. You don't have one promising young player who you can look at and say he's going to bat 300, and you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And be an everyday starter in the infield or whatever, what have you. My point, the Tigers this season, it's and we're gonna get into over-unders in a second. I'm assuming for wins.
They'll probably be our last then.
But I'm lost because it's crazy how Fulmer has completely swung my opinion on this team. Just because now you don't have really a leader out there.
Yeah. Whose jersey are you buying?
Exactly. Yeah, that's another thing. I mean, like from a marketing perspective, this team is. I mean, it's Miguel Cabrera, and that's it.
Yeah, and I've had his jersey for 10 years.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I am excited to watch him come back. But all these young guys, Christian Stewart, Jamer Candelario, Jacoby Jones. You know what I mean? That's what we got. No disrespect to those guys, but it's just like it's a little frustrating because let's keep in mind this is not Colorado. This is Detroit.
Yeah,
this is Detroit. Like we're better than this. What are we doing?
Yeah, I agree.
In terms of as an organization, we should be held to a higher standard, and we should have some better. We should have a better idea for what this team's going to be going into the season than what we have right now. Because we got nothing.
Yeah. I just think like when I hear Colin say like they're 2 years away from the rebuild being over, it's like that to me means that you have a guy like, you have a couple Candelarios on your team, a couple young guys.
Well, and that's why I say I can see the light, but it's not flashing at me. It's not pulling me in. Not saying come. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Fair enough. Again, Tigers opening day is set for Thursday. 4 games set in Toronto to start the year.
Rogers Center. Woo.
Good area. I had a nice area.
I've been there.
Nice area.
It's fun.
Over/under wins is set at 68.5.
Over
for Collins. What's your logic?
The division's the worst division of baseball. So, and I think the Tigers sneaky. I feel like Dardenheimer is just like a better coach than most of the guys in the division. Yeah. So I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. I mean, they're probably gonna get spanked by the Twins and Indians, but the White Sox and Royals names are all gonna be toss-ups. And you play them the 30. I mean, what is it? The fourth of your season is in the division. So yeah, give me the over of 68.5.
Okay, Trent, for you,
I would agree with over, but it's a soft agree. Let me give you my reasoning. Before when we had Fulmer, I had this team at 500, like 80 games. Yeah. I actually thought that was a legitimate possibility. So now you lose Fulmer and you say, okay. You're losing 15 wins, maybe,
Yeah.
And that brings you down to the 65 range. However, like Colin said, you're playing in the AL Comedy Central. Ron Gardenhire is your manager. You have Miguel Cabrera, who's going to win you a couple games, I guess, with his bat. Goodness gracious, people.
Trent's getting blown up.
This is ridiculous.
He's getting some hot tips.
I guess I'm gonna say over, but it's gonna be 69 or 70 wins.
I'm gonna go under and say like 68.
Okay.
Like absolutely 68.
They set these so perfectly. So
they really do.
Yeah.
Because I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, I don't know. They might win 68.5 games.
Yes, exactly.
Armando Galarraga.
Yeah, half a game. Before we wrap the show up here, I don't know if I'm being over dramatic with this one. Your message to the fans, to the Tigers faithful that are maybe more optimistic than we are, maybe more. I'm sure there's a lot of people that are more pessimistic than we are. We are pretty darn pessimistic here, which we have been today. As opening day is upon us, Collins, I'll start with you. Do you have a message to the fans of how you get through this season, your attitude toward the team, or what have you?
I would just say be patient. They're doing it the right way. I don't know if they're executing it the right way, but they're going through a rebuild the way they should. They're doing what they didn't want to do for 5 years. It made them set them back what they're doing now. Like it's them not realizing they weren't going to win a title like 2 or 3 years ago set them back, so they had to start the rebuild like last year. So I mean, they're doing the rebuild the right way. They got the right coach in there. So I think the message is just be patient and just go. Like if you're going to Comerica Park, go to enjoy like going to Comerica Park, not to watch baseball.
Be patient and give this team a chance. Just give this team a chance.
They're not okay. Well, don't give them a chance. They're not making a playoffs.
That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying. Don't just
forget about.
Don't quit before it starts. You know what I mean? It's baseball season. It's the start of the year. There's always something to look forward to. Granted, we just detailed basically why this is not looking good for the foreseeable future. If you were upset about not re-signing Castellanos, there you go. They might. If you were upset about cutting James McCann, Grayson Greiner's hitting .313 in the spring. You know what I mean? There's little things you can hitch your wagon to. Josh Harrison, Jordy Mercer, there's some names to watch. things like that. There is the exciting possibility of bringing up or seeing guys like Daz Cameron and maybe Casey Mize. Like, that would be incredible. Yeah. You know what I mean? That'd be awesome. So I think no matter what, if you have an open mind and you root for the Tigers this season, don't give up on the team. Just watch, be patient with this team, and there's gonna be some fun games all summer long.
Yep. You guys hit it on the head. I just think, like you guys said, you have to take this team at face value. I think the problem with people in sports in general, but especially in Detroit, is like if there's not success, it's a failure. Yeah, I don't think that's necessarily the end all be all. I think the Tigers are they are what they are. They won't win the division this year. They won't go to the playoffs. But they will be playing baseball for 162 games.
It will be a step up from last season.
Yeah, and like Colin said, enjoy. I mean, baseball season, spring, summer. I think just as a human being, as an American, like going to the ballpark it's time. I would go every single day to a baseball game.
Get frozen lemonade. Oh.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
Minute Maid
incredible.
frozen lemonade. So, enjoy the spring, the rest of the spring. Enjoy the summer. I'm not gonna say don't give up because I think you're allowed to. I don't know. Hang in there, I guess I'll say. Find a new favorite player. Pay attention to the young guys. Root for the guys that you want to see get time, what have you. But it will be a fun season. Again, opening day is on Thursday in Toronto. Okay, sorry. Here's Collins. Let's get his little bit of.
He had to get it in.
A little bit of action in there for
Thursday,
Collins.
though, folks. Thursday, let's get it 1-0.
Yes, Thursday. Can we say one pride for the Tigers? The Tigers have prides. What do they call it? One pride.
One pride.
Whatever. That's all for today's episode of the Motown Rundown. For Trent Balley and Ryan Collins, I am Ryan Rabinowitz. Feel free to tweet any questions, comments, or suggest topics for the show on Twitter using the hashtag Motown Rundown. Do not miss a single episode of the show. Be sure to subscribe on iTunes, Impact-WDBM in the search bar. I don't even know if we're on iTunes anymore, but
who knows?
Whatever. We'll figure it out eventually.
Who knows?
New episodes every week. That's all for us, folks. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.
You have been listening to the Motown Rundown, brought to you by Impact 89 FM WDBM. For all your Michigan State and Detroit sports coverage, visit impact89fm.org/sports, and don't forget to subscribe on iTunes.